It happened on a Tuesday. At 3:17 a.m., Elon Musk tweeted, "The two-party system is broken. It serves lobbyists, not the people. I'm considering forming the Real America Party. Who's with me?" The internet exploded. Within an hour, it was the most engaged political post in history. In Washington, panic set in. Political strategists realized their playbooks were suddenly useless. Campaign headquarters for both parties were flooded with calls. Donors were spooked. Pundits scrambled. The old reality of American politics was shattered by a man with 200 million followers and $351 billion to his name. He wasn't just a candidate, he was a force of nature. Financial markets jolted, then steadied, as traders tried to price in the chaos. What would a Musk presidency mean for the economy, for regulations, for the world order? This wasn't a politician testing the waters. This was a disruptor aiming straight for the White House. But the real story wasn't in DC or Wall Street. It was in American homes. For millions, Musk's tweet was a breath of fresh air, a direct challenge to a system they felt was rigged. It captured a frustration simmering for decades, that both parties were two sides of the same corrupt coin. Musk's message resonated because it was simple, raw, and unfiltered. He was an outsider, a builder, a problem solver, and he was asking a question many had been afraid to voice. What if we just started over? The battle for the future of American politics had begun. Not with a speech, but with a tweet. Overnight, the rules had changed. The establishment was on notice. The public was electrified, and the world was watching. The political earthquake had only just begun. The third-party dream is as old as American politics, but the system is built to crush it. Ballot access is the first wall. Every state has its own maze of rules, signatures, and deadlines. It's a war of attrition, designed to exhaust new movements before they start. Then comes campaign finance. Democrats and Republicans have vast fundraising machines. A third-party candidate starts from zero. Even a billionaire like Musk needs grassroots donors to prove legitimacy and build a movement. The two parties control the money and use it to drown out rivals. Media is the next barrier. News coverage, debates, and punditry are all built around red versus blue. Third-party candidates are ignored, mocked, or labeled spoilers. Debate access is controlled by a commission run by the two parties, with polling thresholds almost impossible to meet. Without media coverage, you can't get the polls. Without the polls, you can't get the coverage. Finally, the winner-take-all electoral system punishes third parties. Even with 15% of the vote, you could end up with 0 electoral votes. The spoiler effect scares voters back to the two parties, afraid their vote will help the side they hate most. The fortress holds, not because people love it, but because the system is designed to keep outsiders out. Every 4 years, hope rises, then reality crushes it. The question, can anyone break through? The two-party fortress is cracking. Disillusionment is everywhere. 63% of Americans now say a third party is needed. That's not fringe, that's a majority. People see a government captured by special interests, politicians who promise change but deliver for donors, drug prices soar, infrastructure crumbles, and voters feel ignored, cynicism runs deep. The sense is, the game is rigged and nothing ever changes. Every election is framed as do or die, forcing people to vote against someone, not for something. Negative partisanship dominates. Politics becomes a team sport. Winning is all that matters. But beneath the exhaustion, there's a hunger for hope and unity. Disillusionment cuts across party lines. Conservatives, liberals, independents all feel betrayed. They're not apathetic, they're activated, looking for a leader who breaks the cycle. The demand for something new is real. The only thing missing, a credible messenger. The ground is shaking. The right candidate could trigger a political earthquake. The question is, who will step up? The system is vulnerable. The people are ready. Any other third-party candidate would be crushed. But Musk has 3 superpowers. First, his direct-to-consumer media empire. With 200 million followers on X, he can bypass traditional media and speak directly to the world. He shapes narratives, counters attacks, and mobilizes millions instantly. Second, his vast personal wealth. He can self-fund a campaign, freeing himself from donors and special interests. He could outspend both parties, making his financial independence a core part of his brand. Third, his devoted brand community. Musk's fans are more than customers. They're true believers. They're tech-savvy, loyal, and ready to mobilize as volunteers, donors, and digital evangelists. This built-in army could become a political movement overnight. These 3 advantages, media reach, wealth, and a cult-like following, create a perfect storm. He can solve ballot access and campaign finance with money, and media gatekeeping with his platform. No third-party candidate has ever had this combination. Musk could shatter the rules of the game. The establishment has never faced a challenger like this. The question, will it be enough? How would Musk use his superpowers to break through? For ballot access, he'd use tech and app to gamify petition signatures, geolocation to direct supporters, and incentives like exclusive content or even a Tesla giveaway. He'd hire top legal teams to fight challenges, turning defense into offense. For campaign finance, he'd kickstart with billions of his own, then launch a tech-driven crowdfunding movement. A real-time dashboard would show every dollar raised and spent, contrasting with the opaque finances of his rivals. For media, he'd bypass traditional outlets, live-stream debates on X, and use his online army to spread memes and counter-narratives. When attacked, he'd mock the media to his followers, drowning out criticism with direct messaging. To beat the spoiler effect, he'd push a message of inevitability. Don't waste your vote on a broken system. Join the team building the future. Data analytics would target persuadable voters with precision. The goal, not just compete, but win outright. He'd argue a vote for the old parties is the real wasted vote. The campaign would feel more like a disruptive startup than a traditional political machine. The playbook break every rule. What would President Musk stand for? Not left or right, but tech populism. It's a blend of populist frustration and technocratic problem solving. The promise run America like a lean, innovative tech company, with citizens as customers. He'd push for radical government reform. Term limits, a ban on lobbying, and a first principles review of every agency. Less bureaucracy, more results. On policy, he'd mix ideas, universal broadband, lower drug prices, and direct cash payments instead of sprawling programs. He'd champion AI, renewable energy, and space exploration as keys to prosperity. Taxes? Simplified, maybe even a flat tax you file on your phone. The vision, relentless optimism, competence, and a government that builds, not argues. It's a direct challenge to the status quo. The message, replace politicians with engineers. Musk's campaign would face huge risks. First, legal challenges. The Constitution requires a natural-born citizen. Musk's eligibility would be contested, tying up his campaign in lawsuits and uncertainty. Second, the spoiler effect. Even with all his resources, he could split the vote and hand victory to the candidate his supporters dislike most. Both parties would hammer this message, making fear his biggest obstacle. Third, Musk himself. His unfiltered, unpredictable style is both his strength and his weakness. A single tweet could alienate voters or spark a media firestorm. Political campaigns demand discipline, something Musk rarely shows. Opponents would weaponize his past statements and controversies. His temperament would be under a microscope. Any sign of instability would be amplified. The greatest threat to a Musk campaign might be Musk. We stand at the edge of a future that feels both impossible and inevitable. A Musk victory would be a political singularity, obliterating the old rules and shattering the two-party system. Imagine election night. The map is red, blue, and Musk gray. He's built a coalition no one thought possible. His win would prove the power of direct communication and the hunger for something radically new. But there's a warning. The same tools that could propel Musk, wealth, media control, cult of personality, are also the tools of autocrats. A president with no party, no donors, and no media checks is a president with few limits. America would face hard questions. Do we want a leader who can bypass democracy with tech and money? Is a brilliant but erratic CEO the right person for the job? The idea of President Musk is a mirror, reflecting our hopes for innovation and our fears of unchecked power. Whether this ends as a revolution or a cautionary tale depends on choices yet to be made. The Musk presidency is the ultimate political drama. It's about technology, power, and the future of democracy. The world is watching. Will the man who shoots for the stars set his sights on the White House?